Hey guys, Tank Sauce here with Traders Reborn. This video is going to be on the CPI news release and the way we or I trade it. Just some tips and things to look for on your CPI news days. We did this class the day before CPI so our members were ready for the next day. And remember, we have a free Discord where we do these things regularly. So enjoy. So this will be quick, guys. It's not very long. I'm just going to show you guys the things I've been noticing with CPI and the way I've been trading it myself, and just show you guys. We'll just go over this year's CPI date so you can kind of see the different things that it's done real fast. Most of my trading is like off ranges, right? Like lunch range, daily range, session ranges, things like that. So when news releases, like the big, and I'm gonna share the screen right now. Don't worry. When the big news releases come, you guys will see that those. Sorry. When the big news releases come, you guys will see that they also create ranges, right, based on the news candle. So I myself use the 15-minute candle to draw the highs and the lows for the news release, and generally for CPI, it's a pretty big candle, right? It's usually an aggressive move. I know some of the news releases we've had lately aren't, but yeah, usually it creates a good movement and you can get a good range to trade off of. And then my favorite thing with ranges is once it takes one side of the range, I'll trade it to the other side, and then I'll use that 50% of the range as kind of like a TP1 or an area where I'd really want to see it bust through and continue going. So that's the way I do it. So tomorrow is CPI, so hopefully we can use some of this stuff in tomorrow, right? You guys can use this tomorrow when you guys are looking at it and analyze it that way, and hopefully it will help. Oh, the 1 minute CPI. Okay. So we're gonna have to do this all in the 15-minute, which is kind of a bummer. So, okay, this was last month, October 10th, CPI news release, right?
Might we would pull up in your edge pod.
Oh, yeah.
To show on the 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll pull up my Edge Pro while I'm talking to you guys about this and see if I can show it on the 1 minute, because that's preferably how I do it. But, I mean, you guys, everyone kind of has their entry models and stuff that you guys do, so, and we've gone over that a lot, but I'll try to pull it up while we're going. So, this last CPI, you can see this candle, big aggressive candle. We had a huge move up first, right? And then it dumped right after and came all the way down and created these ranges. And you guys can do it two ways, right? So this day specifically, after the news release, Dick actually entered these shorts right here, and he took the shorts down to this and got that really quick, really fast, pretty decent size short that he got, right? And then afterwards, you guys can see after we took the CPI news low, it's a nice good wick that kind of shows that it wants to change directions, right? So we wicked out of there and we took it to the other side. And what was it? We had like a big old turtle soup. It was a V shape on the 1 minute. We came up, there was a breaker right here. We got above the breaker, and then we started bouncing off the breaker, is what happened. And we kind of just kept bouncing and rejecting. I had added twice into that area once I was seeing the wicks and that it wouldn't break, and I took it up here and I TP'd at the top. And yeah, that was the first news release, right? Success. It was great, super clean the way it worked out, and that's how these news highs and lows throughout the day, they become draws on liquidity. So whenever we have those big news releases, notate those high and lows, right? Because those become strong draws on liquidities, whether you're going to draw to one side or you're going to wait for it to take a side and see if it's going to head to the other side after, or maybe it's going to take one side, right? Like we were going over last time for lunch, it's going to take one side and then it's going to go up and then use it as support or resistance and then continue in that direction, because it does both. But The last few have done this. They've taken one side and they have gone to the other side. So that was October's, September's. And I know it's always on a Wednesday or Thursday. I don't think it's always the same every single time. I think sometimes it's Wednesday, sometimes it's Thursday. But you guys can look for like historical CPI dates if you wanted to, and then you could go like back test it afterwards because the market repeats itself, right? It usually tends to do similar things over and over and over again. Yeah. So here was last month. We also ended up getting this trade. Oh man, but I wish I could show it on the 1 minute. But same thing, right? 8:30 right here, news release. We made that range, initial range. After that, we went up, and up here, it looks like we reversed right at the 9:30 open, right? Right before it, we made a high, closed back inside the range, and then we dumped down to the other side, right? Similar thing. I think I will pull up my Edge Pro and go over these with you guys after so we can see, but we'll look at these first. What is it, the 14th? Same thing right here. And this one's good too because I'll show you guys. 8:30 news release, right? We took both sides of the range already from that news release, right? We took these lows down here, these lows, wick below them, came back up, and we also took this high over here. So both sides of liquidity got purged on that one. Then we have three inside bars, and I call these inside bars. Other people refer to them as inside bars because they're bars that continued inside the range. So this is where, oh yeah, I'll go over onto Edge Pro afterwards and pull it up because yeah, TradingView only gives me like a month of data on it. I think on the 1 minute. It is the premium. Bro, come on, Black Friday special, premium. All the screens, all the indicators. But I'll open Edge Pro and we can go over it on that after on the 1 minute. But we'll just go over what it does real fast. So, yeah, so same thing, right? Range, 8:30, news release, CPI, got a range. That was a huge dip on that candle. And then we have three inside bars, which all failed to break the range, right? Well, that's where they're accumulating orders, right? They're accumulating positions for the next move. And then right here, right at 9:30, we ended up taking CPI's high. So that was that manipulation we see a lot of times at the open. And then we went back and head towards the other side of the range. And you could see after we took CPI news low, we actually reversed again and continued up. And then it looks like we pretty much stayed in that same basic range the rest of the day. And it's weird because I can remember these trading these days too. Okay. Oh yeah, here's another one. So here's one of the other ones where it kind of breaks it and then it just goes, retests it and kind of goes. So here's our range here. And the only thing I would say with this range opposed to the other ones, right? And if you guys have a little bit of like, I don't know, there's other things that go into it with the analysis, but this is like a clear market maker buy model that we got going on up here, right? This is like the original consolidation, accumulation one, accumulation two. I'm sure there's some high time frame PD array besides this other high over here that we popped into before we reversed, and then the trade would ultimately go down to these relative lows. So combine it with your other analysis that you guys have to see what you think it's going to be doing. And then that's what this did right here. And we'll go back and look at this on the 1 minute. Yeah, it's all recorded, Sam. Yeah. Yeah, there you guys go. There's all the dates. So this one was more like a break and retest, right? I'm sure on the 1 minute there's some things in here that we can look at and see that would have confirmed the move lower as well. And there was probably some big high time frame PD array over here to the left that this shot up into after taking this high. This is kind of good because this whole time right here, we just accumulated, right? All night, Asia, accumulate. So that usually leads us to think that there's going to be a big move when we just consolidate like that, especially on Asia, right? So here was the big manipulation up, and once we came down and couldn't close below that low at all and it just starts wicking, I wouldn't necessarily look for up. I would look for at market structure to see what it looks like it's going to be doing. But this is one of the other things. We break out of one side and then we continue in that direction. July. Yep, here's another one. And I actually got caught in this one on the wrong side. But this one did the same thing. And this one was kind of like a slow burn down. We went up, we kind of slow burned down for a little bit. And then we hit this and we continued. And you could see even later on in the day, in the afternoon, it used those highs as support, right? So we got up with displacement above it, chopped around a little bit, power of 3, right? Accumulation. We double purged this one. We manipulated on both sides and then we took our shot up, right? But it used that as support for the rest of the day. Same thing here. And on this one, if for this CPI news release, what I would be willing to bet, and maybe we could pull it up on ES after this, but I would say that there's most likely an SMT with ES down here, and I would say ES took this low prior and NQ didn't, which is another thing you guys can look at for news releases to see what's going on before it, and if there's any divergences prior to the news release, you can use that to confirm which way we might be headed, right? Because those SMTs on like a 15-minute intraday kind of confirm that stuff. So what is this? May 15th? Let's see. Yeah, there you go. And there's the SMT right there. We took these lows. I don't know if we took this one as far back here. But these ones got SMT'd with NQ because ES ended up taking these. NQ didn't, which would allude to further upside, right, for that release. So that's something you guys can look at when you're looking. If you back test, maybe compare ES to NQ and those things. So you guys could look at the little cues that it gives us to know what's going to happen. And same thing with all these. I'm sure there's SMTs on a lot of these that are going to tell us. Oh yeah, this one's kind of interesting. So let me finish loading up my edge pro while we go. Okay. This one is kind of going to show you guys how like those, I call them data highs and data lows because it's news data release. And this CPI specifically was a really, really big range CPI, right? We just dropped completely. And prior, we had a good manipulation above all of these equal highs right here before we dumped. And we actually didn't take either side right away this day. We chopped around after the news release the rest of the day. And I'm sure there's an SMT with ES right here, which is going to cause us to go up. But if you look, so this happened on Wednesday morning. If you guys look over at Friday during London, right, we have this little manipulation up right here, right at 3 a.m. or right before 3 a.m. And then we come down and we continue down until we take that other side. We blast right through it and we chop around and keep going down. But still, those news releases, if you guys have them and they don't get hit, you guys can use them the next day or a couple days after because there's still valid liquidity areas or draws on liquidity. So this day kind of was a good indication of that. But usually the last few dates they're getting taken. So that has been my last one that I've been doing, or the most recent one. I've just been taking it one from one side to the other. Let's see what we got. March 12th. There we go. Another one. And this one actually went both ways. So 2 minute. No, it won't. I think 2 minute only goes back 2 months. 2 minute will give me up to March. Let's see. just September. But it's okay. I got my Edge Pro loaded, so I'll go in there afterwards. And same thing, right? So pre-market, we ended up taking the high. We ended up moving down, and then after market opened, right here, I'm sure this was during the macro right before 10 a.m. It ended up taking the lows, right? And then we headed back up to the other side. So still, if I was up and on the computer and I saw it take this high and come back inside like that, I probably would have tried taking it to the other side, even if it was pre-market, because you could still get those good pre-market moves. Also, as you guys see, we take our Dick takes a lot of those with good success on it. In February, well, this one's on a Tuesday. Oh yeah, February is another kind of weird one. We ended up we still did finish it off later on, but not that day. Later in the week. So for this one, so like I told you guys in the other range videos, the lunch range, we did one on liquidity levels too before. If you guys target, if you guys find, I did do the 2 minute. It only went to September. If you guys find 50% of the range. Oh yeah, I don't know why. That's weird. I have premium too on this. A safe bet is again that 50% is usually a safe bet on it. Oh yeah, I gotta get full access then. They're ripping me off. That's crazy. But look right here. So if you guys took the longs after it ended up taking the low right here, right? And you guys TP1, because that's a pretty big range, 210 points roughly, that whole range. Yeah, it just goes back to September 29th. Like it doesn't show it here. I'll show you guys one more time. Last available bar, 6. Unless you're on bar replay. Are you doing bar replay? George? Maybe it will on bar replay. Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, I wasn't on bar replay. But we're almost through the year, so I'll finish this and then go on to the 1 minute on Edge Pro. Oh, January, February. I think January's was a little weird one too. Let's see. Okay, there we go. January's was a little bit different. But here we go. We didn't take the highs, and then we ended up just going through and doing the lows. So you guys can see, usually it does follow certain patterns of what it does, just based off of what the last year has done. But there's still going to be those days that are weird, like the day where we just chopped around all day after, and then eventually took it and went to the other side.
Maybe we did like a 3 drives pattern or something on the 1 minute.
Oh yeah, there could have been like a 3 drives pattern or something in here that stopped it that we would look at. But let me see if I could go on this on the 1 minute real fast on here. And then we'll start from the beginning and go down. How far back does bar replay go on the 1 minute on
Maybe.
what's up?
Maybe May.
Oh, maybe May. Yeah.
Or no, 2 minute is March.
Yeah, see, even in my bar replay, it doesn't go back. That's weird, right?
That is weird.
Oh, that one goes back. Yeah, 2 minute. Let me see if I can get the 1 minute to go too real fast. I like the 1 minute better. Ooh, I think we got it. Almost. Okay, so this was last month. Haha, perfect. Thanks, dude. First CPI. This is the first CPI following election day. But look it up and go back yourself, because that was 4 years ago. I'm just going to go over these ones we went over. But you guys should go over all of this stuff and back test it yourselves, right, before actually looking at it. So yeah, right here, I believe this is where Dick got in those shorts right before the big drop, right? Took the drop down. And then afterwards, when it came up, as soon as we closed up above this last FVG right here, this is where both Pam and I had gotten long on it, right? And we closed above that and it retraced in this FVG and we got long. I think I got long right at the top of this inversion and I put my stop down here at the bottom of this inversion for this one because I didn't want it to go below this breaker. I felt like if it was going to be going continuing bullish, this low right here was going to be what needed to be respected. And then we ended up taking it up the rest of the day until it went all the way up. So and it was a really long hold.
It was like so long.
Yeah, but it worked out really well.
Remember that day?
Yeah. 9/11 was the same thing. There's price here. Yep. And then when this one got over, as soon as we got that displacement, that had been our indication to get short, right? Came back inside the range. We displaced below these lows. This kind of manipulated up. I'm pretty sure I took this entry and took it to the other side. But yeah, same thing. We end up taking one side of it. We come back into range and boom, we go down to the other side. Boom. Yeah, this was that one that had the inside bars, right? So this one would have been kind of a pain because if you use FVGs and stuff, I usually wait for my retracements into the FVGs to take it. So this one could have been tricky, but the fact that it closed so perfectly on the highs like that, yeah, if you're on the right side tomorrow, yeah, you make a lot of money with it. Well, but I never trade the news release itself. I trade the after the news release. And then yeah, 9:30 manipulation, right? So 9:30 often will provide that fake move for us just right at the beginning. And that's what it did here. We got the closes back inside the range right on the high. So for me, that would have been a good indication that it was going to keep coming down. And then as soon as it displaced down like this, that would have been where I would have waited for this move to get short right here. And I'm not 100% sure where I entered this one because I don't fully remember this one as clear, but I forget what it was. I think it was like the last 5 CPIs we hit pretty good on it, the trading. So yeah, same thing. Take one side of it, especially with this accumulation, right? Power three, accumulate, manipulate, and then we distribute down to the opposite side, and that's what it did very cleanly. Oh, this was the break and retest. Yeah. So where would I have looked at this one? Honestly, I may have gotten chopped up on this one if I'm being honest, just because it doesn't suit as clean. But here we made the high. Here was the low, the high. We shot up. Here I might have been thinking we were gonna go long, and once we took this, I probably would have longed it here initially, and then gotten stopped out here. And when we came back down, let's see. I may have taken it short myself, may not. Uh, After this, I probably would have got short somewhere on this one and tried to take it down lower, actually. But I for sure probably would have got stopped out the first one because it was doing what I would have wanted to see it right here, right? If it was going to be going long, kind of followed that, hit that FVG, bounced, and then probably would have went long from there in all honesty and tried to hit it, see if I could have got it. But this is one of those ones where after it does that, this was the one we manipulated out on the higher time frame, and then finished all the way down the market maker model, sell model down there. Yeah. So that's July 11th. What else do we got? I keep forgetting to do that. I personally don't try to trade like the news itself. I usually wait just because it's kind of risky, right? Oh yeah, this one. So I actually ended up getting short in this one, and I kind of got messed up on this day and after we went down here, Dick and the team went long, and then I ended up getting stopped out right here, and I eventually flipped it and took this long right here and continued up the rest of the day. But I think this is the one where ES manipulated these lows over here. ES took the lows prior and NQ didn't, so I probably missed that. But I remember this specific day because of the way this was. But yeah, here's another one you can see. After we came down, we failed to get below 50% of its range, right? And if it's going to take it, you want to see it blast through, you want to see it get through, or at least accumulate at 50% of the range a little bit before it's going to continue. And this one we didn't. We just kind of rounded out. We ended up sweeping this little low right here, immediately coming back up, and then retesting these little breakers right here and continuing up. Oh yeah, this is actually a similar one here too. Same thing, came down. This one did bust through 50%, right? But it immediately came back up. So if you guys see this, those inversions are good ways to tell. It's another way to look at like the change in the state of delivery, right? That little V-shaped recovery right there. So I probably wouldn't have taken any trades in this most likely, or now, today, just the way I've been trading the CPI news release lately. I would have waited for one side, but if we hit 50%, or it probably came down to OTE, right? And OTE is basically just below 50, but probably tapped that 62, which is Dick's 38, right? And it starts bouncing like that, that's a good indication. So as soon as it got above this inversion, that would definitely be the cue to take that long and then take it to the highs or further if it's gonna go, right? And this day does go. What else we got? Damn, this is still the 1 minute in May. Okay. Does it go to April? You said it goes to May. That's the furthest, right, George? Does it go further? Ooh, it goes further. Okay. March. Oh, okay, March. Nice. I think this was that one that just accumulated all day for a while and then ended up going. Oh, that was you, Doug. Oh, that's this April one we're on, right? That you posted? Yeah. Yep, that was the one, and then we ended up taking it, I think on Friday, right? Dipping down and going. Oh, when it swept the previous day high? Yeah. Previous week low? Yeah. Let's see if this one works. So yeah, use it in conjunction with your guys' other levels, right? What you do. And probably the fact that we've been trading it from one side to the other these last few months, it'll probably be different tomorrow, but that's still probably what I'm going to be looking at. Myself. Sweet. March. March, same thing, right? Took the high of it. So more often it looks like it's yeah, Confluence. Yeah, so whatever entry model it is that you use, you would want to apply to those ranges, right? To that news range. So if you see an entry to take it from one side to the other and you get that confirmation, that would be my personal target. It would be down at like 50% of the range if there's something here. So there's this order block right here that's right at about 50%. So on big order blocks, you can even divide them up into 4 quadrants and look at them and use the internal levels that it has. But yeah, probably 50% of the order block right below 50% could be like your TP1 and then TP2 all the way on the other side of it. So yeah, whatever your entry model is. And I would have for sure gotten short on this one. I wouldn't have got an entry myself in any here. I would have waited as soon as it displaced below these short-term lows. I would have taken this short right here. And then I would have put my stop up here above this stop. I wouldn't have picked the high on this one just because it was good amount of room. I would have picked this high and then taken it to the other side and closed it out. And man, I think when it goes the last few, NFP does the same thing. CPI does the same thing. They all have the same tendencies with the news releases, right? The high and the low of that news release is going to create some draws on liquidity. FOMC used to. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, now FOMC, it's like a two-stage delivery, right? You got the news release and then you got Powell. And it kind of gets. This last FOMC sucked, though. That was really boring compared to the past ones. Yeah. That's where Pam and I got our 1,000 tick trade, was on the second delivery at FOMC. That was great. March, yeah, so same thing right here. This would have been my entry personally on this guy, for sure, without a doubt. Would have taken that and then taken it down all the way. Does the 2 minute go past March? Or 5 minute might go past March, huh? Let's see. Dang, I always do that, though. Timing. There we go. And I think this is the one that went up to 50%. So I'm sure somewhere in this order block down here on the 1 minute, there would have been an FEG that could have entered off of to go long and taken it long. And remember, like those really big ranges, if it's a smaller range, you can probably target the whole thing a lot easier. And then if it's those bigger ranges, you guys can take 50% and further, and 50% of the range looks like it almost lines up with 50% of that FEG. So yeah, see, about the same. So when the PD arrays line up like that and like the 50% marks line up like that, it's usually like a good level to pay attention to, is what I've noticed. Whenever they're overlapping pretty close like that, I usually tend to pay attention to it if you guys use these type of things. And then it looks like there's probably a unicorn of some sort right in here, right? Would be my guess as well. We do have this FEG. So this could have been the entry once it retested this breaker, this order block. It even retested this little guy down here, this order block, and then went. Dang, that looks googly. And then yeah, taking it to 50%, and then I think it comes back down after that one. If this is the one we were looking at, yeah. So if you guys have a reason, you see a reason, there's a point to take it at that 50% mark, you might want to just pay attention to there, right? As soon as it came down, if I had like a runner and I had a stop, like if I took a partial and put my stop below here, I would have got stopped out. If I put it to break even, I think the second we closed below these lows right here, I probably would have closed it out myself and then either tried to take longs down here or maybe just sat out depending on how I was at for the day. And then January's isn't this year, but January's is actually December. So all of the news releases are from the month prior, right? Oh, that was the failed one where we didn't take one side at all. See if the 1 minute will go back there real quick. Whew. The 1 minute does go back over there. So if I was waiting for it to take one side, because that's what I do, right? As soon as we got this close below this slow short-term low, I probably would not have been trying to take it to the other side anymore. And I may have been looking for reasons to go short instead. So those little things that I do. Oh shit. She got it right. Bro, Pam's analysis is on point. Yeah, so as soon as we got that close below that low right there and we didn't wick it, right? We actually came down. That I would have no longer been looking for it to go this way and would not have assumed that. And we even bounced right at the 50% mark of this wick. Which these wicks are rejection blocks, so that's another thing I use in my analysis, right? Big wicks and stuff. It hit 50% and rejected, so that would have been a good indication that it may not have been coming down any further. And then yeah, it looks like we came down, we probably used it as resistance, continued maybe, or we came back in and just kind of chopped around. And that's really it. And that's kind of like how I trade all my news releases, right? I use their highs and the lows as draws on liquidity, and I wait for one. Uh, I wait for one side to get taken, and then I usually try to trade it to the other side. But while I'm in it, I use those certain things to just confirm that my bias on the move is going to be continued, right? Um, yeah. And that's pretty much all I got for the news releases, guys. I would say definitely, and the reason I kind of came up with this is because I did sit down and I did go through and backtest all of the CPI releases, so I could kind of see what tend to happen the most as well, and in accordance with what I've learned um, through all the studying and stuff. But yeah, always go back and prepare. Even FOMC, FOMC is a good one. NFP, CPI, PPI, those big news releases, they're always really good to go back through, back test, and see what's going on. So that's just like a basic, super basic way to look at the news release, right? And just these highs and lows as important areas to pay attention to, strong areas to pay attention to while you guys are trading. And it's just like here, right? Once we broke this news level, we had FVGs right here, displacement through it. We continued to use it as resistance and continue lower. And sorry guys, I was like feeling a little off today, tired and potentially sick again. I don't know. That's all I got. If you guys got any questions, hit it up. Otherwise, I'm gonna turn the recording off. Yeah, no, thank you guys for coming and checking it out. Oh yeah, wait. Yep. Oh no, because it worked on TradingView. I didn't know you could do it on bar replay. Oh, we went over it. We went over how to execute it. I know, the edge. I don't know. Where were you? I think you guys were talking about Nicole's dog or something. Yeah, recap. So yeah, the recap is I like to use CPI. You want to be in a long tomorrow before the news. I like to use CPI's high and low as a range to trade, and me generally will wait for one side to get taken before I take the other side, unless internally I'm seeing things to go against that, right? So, like, let me go back to last October's because we just start there. That was the last one I traded. Re up, yeah. Wait till it to get there because I always do the. Actually, let's do this. I always forget to put the time. There we go. So this was last month, bro, and then this is the one where yeah, I'm definitely sleeping tonight myself. So this is the one last month where you took those shorts, dude, right? Somewhere about here, you entered short and caught that big drop down, and blasted past the CPI low. And then after that CPI low got taken, I had actually entered these longs. After this this top FEG right here got inverted, which meant it got violated, right? Its price did not respect bearish price action in this. That is where it kind of confirmed my move up from there. And because look, it just looked really perfect, right? Accumulate, we manipulate down past it, we immediately came back into range. So I entered longs right here and put my stop down here at the bottom of this FBG, and we ended up taking the longs all the way to the high. Yeah, that was a good one. And the same thing happened for the last few months. It was October, September's did the same thing. I think we took the highs in September, came down. Oh man, I'm really bad at this. Here was September. And if you guys use the 5 minute or different things, plug your way into it the way you guys would do it, right? Whatever entry you guys have. But this one, I may have entered on this one. I doubt it because we didn't come back into range. I usually wait for it to come back into the range to kind of help confirm what I'm doing. If anything, I would have taken this guy because this is the one after it did come back into range. We displaced in again lower, right? We displaced below these lows here already and came back into range, but kind of went back up. So I probably myself wouldn't have been comfortable taking a short right here just because we bounced off the high. But once this one came in and it retraced into it, that would have been the entry. And this would have been my literal setup for it. I would have put my stop above that high and then taken it down there to the low. It's like almost 3.5 risk to reward on that one. It's weird when I was back testing these, I remembered like a good amount of the CPIs that we traded. Let's see what else there was. August, what did August do? Oh, I just switched it up. I think it was because it was Halloween, so I did green and purple. And yeah, this is the same one. So for this one, just a little different things that price does for me. I'll watch, right? And as soon as we took this wick above and didn't get any closes above this, even on the 1 minute, and then had this drop inside, you could take it anywhere in here. I may not have. I don't remember this specific day perfectly, or else I could tell you. But sometimes I will take them aggressively as soon as they hit the breaker, right? I'll enter a trade. And all of these stayed below 50% of the breaker. So I may have on this first candle when it came back up after we closed below these lows over here. Or I may have waited and taken this one a little bit further down. It's okay not to get that first. Like if you guys have confidence in the setup, you don't always have to get that first entry on it. You could wait a little bit and take the second entry. Oh yeah, that was a good one too. The one after that, I think it was the one after that. Yeah, it was the CPI after that. I got caught in shorts. I think everybody was in longs. Yeah. That's how I do it. So, and then if I would have taken this one, I would have went. I probably would have entered right at the order block or somewhere in there. This one I probably would have put it at the high because that was the nearest area and then taken it down. Yeah, so the news days are usually good
Have
to
you tried this with PPI?
with PPI. Yeah.
But do we get a big candle for PPI like that? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't fully remember off the top of the head, but all the news releases, I'll use the high and low if it's a good move to as draws and liquidities and targets for trades. Take trades towards them or after they get hit. Yeah, that was the one. I was so stoked too in the shorts. Because it was going. Yeah, dude, I entered shorts on. Here, I could go to it too, real fast. I entered shorts on it before you guys did anything, and then you guys entered longs after I entered shorts, and I think Pam even entered longs on it as well, if I'm remembering correctly. Oh no, it wasn't this one. I think it was the next one.
Powell speaks on Thursday.
June. Powell speaks Thursday?
Mm-hmm. At noon.
Yeah, it was this one, dude. I entered shorts somewhere up over here, and when it came into this little order block right here, I entered shorts on it and was trying to take it to the other side because I thought it was gonna come down. And I was super stoked, obviously, when it got down to here. And I think this is exactly where you guys had entered longs on it and took it up. And I was like, oh crap. But then after it stopped me out because I had my stop just right here at these highs. Uh, I entered longs right here with everybody else and kept taking it up. But yeah, that's what I did. And it's more clear looking at it, right? Because all we did was accumulate. Of course, we're going to manipulate before we go the correct way. Yeah, but I wasn't. I don't know. I was probably half awake when I got on, just pushing buttons from the get go. Okay, what's up, guys? So, in addition to last night's class that we went over, I was just going to go over today's CPI news release with you guys and just show you exactly what happened. So, uh, obviously, we know 8:30 Eastern time we had the news release here, right? Like I said, I use the 15-minute range for CPI, and that's how I get my CPI range. That's just what I found to be the most effective for me. So here's the CPI high, here's the CPI low, right? As we went over yesterday. And what we actually did this morning is, Diamond Hands, Dick, anyone who was on the stream is after it created this high, we got short about here and we took it down. Our ultimate targets was down here at this 2154, which was Tuesday's low. And here we'll just go over a quick few things and what I look for in today's trading. So yeah, after we made the low, we made the high. We also took Asia, London's highs. London took Asia's high, and then the news release blasted right through London's high. We made this high. We failed to take Tuesday's high as well. So we still stayed within yesterday's range. We started working our way down. Right here, right before 10 a.m., right at 10 a.m. actually, right before, we ended up taking the data low, CPI data low. And if you guys can see, we came all the way down. This is 10:05, which is the 9:50 to 10:10, or if you guys look into it, sometimes I'll do 9:45 to 10:15 macro time. And I specifically love trading at 10 a.m. because if you guys go back through your charts and just compare this, 10 a.m. will often offer us that smart money reversal, right? That's the time we see reversals, we see retracements. It's just a good time to start trading the first 30 minutes of the day, and the 30-minute opening range is formed. So it was pretty textbook today. Yes, it was a little bit choppy the whole way down and the whole way up, but it did exactly what we went over last night. So we took the low right here, 10:05 within the macro. That's when we got our reversal and our low of the day. And you guys can see here on the 1 minute. And I did not catch the reversal or the longs, actually. I took these shorts down here with all you guys this morning. And then I think I ended up just about break even on the day when I got down here. I got kind of like chopped up when really we entered the shorts up here. We could have just held it all the way down, right? But I did getting this dump, and I did get stopped out in profit right up about here. But here it was. We went over those. Someone asked about the inversions. Here was that inversion that formed right at 10 a.m. So that would have been a good indication. That's where you could potentially get in to catch it up to the high, right? And look, we never got a close below that inversion, right? So the whole day, it just supported it. The low of that IFVG supported price all the way up. So we literally took the low, 10 a.m. we had our reversal, and we slowly worked our way back up. So if you guys were sized with small size, all of this chop wouldn't have messed you up whatsoever, right? Because yes, it's 166 it's 66 points of fluctuation in some of these, but with one micro, that's $100 roughly. With two, it's only $200. So compared to sizing real big, you're gonna see hundreds, thousands of dollars fluctuation in price, and your mentality probably will not be able to take it, and it's going to shake you out, or at least it shakes me out when I see those large fluctuations. So all the way up, we slowly worked our way up. We formed the lunch low right here, right at lunch open at 12 is when we formed the low. We formed the high at 103, and then we ended up taking the data highs right here, right in the 150 to 210 macro time. And what this, we took Tuesday's high, right? And this is the remaining, just so you guys know what this is on my charts. This was the remaining portion of this 4-hour fair value gap that was left open. So I marked that. It was right above, Tuesday's high, obviously. So that was an area that if we got up there, I was pretty sure we were going to jump into. And then, like I said, I didn't really make any money on the whole CPI news release, even though that's like one of my favorite setups that I've been doing lately. I kind of got messed up on it today. I didn't lose a whole lot, but I didn't make my money. And then where I actually made my money is after we took this Tuesday's high, CPI high, Tuesday high, and we put into the remaining portion of that 4-hour FEG that I had marked. I actually got short right here, right? And I took this all the way down to lunch lows. So that lunch, the PM lunch range setup that we went over last week or the week before, that's where I made my money today. And I actually took this from here with pancakes down to the lunch lows. I actually took mine before lunch lows. I took it in this first 1-minute FEG that was created today. And that's where I ended my day. So I just wanted to go over this to show you guys and incorporate that exactly what we went over last night. We pretty much armed you guys for success today. And even though it was a choppy day, it was kind of textbook what happened, right? With everything that we went over. So, let us know if you guys want more of these. If you guys want to go over other news releases. If you guys want to go check out other things, let us up in the comments. I try to go over these in the easiest way to understand as possible because I know ICT can be confusing, especially because we have members that don't necessarily trade ICT. So I'll continuously try to break it down in different ways for you guys so it's applicable to whatever style you guys are using. So yeah, I hope that helped someone today. I hope last night's session helped someone today. And I hope just looking at this afterwards is able to help someone else further with this information that they had. So if you guys have any questions, just send it in the trading floor and we'll make sure that they get answered, okay? And everything you guys can do. I tried to get on right now and take a screenshot of my trade, but I traded my MFF accounts today, and when I log back in, the trade isn't in there itself, so I couldn't do that, my lunch trade. But yeah, so I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you guys were able to get some money out of the market today. And hopefully you're able to see what we showed you guys last night immediately applied to the next day. All right.